Zohran is a reformist socialist who believes in using elections in order to achieve socialism, but ultimately his goal is to overthrow the system. So why did he run as a Democrat? Well, the DSA in New York City, as they explained on the call, has a history of trying to use the Democratic Party in order to advance their candidates. And by the way, you guys have never heard this on conservative media, have you? Because they don't explain this to you. I understand that it's confusing to people that he ran in the Democratic Party while being a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. Let me go to my website. Actually, this is a really good idea. On my website, Decode the Left, if you go to decodetheleft.com/map, I have literally created an image to explain the difference between Democrats and liberals and progressives and democratic socialists and revolutionary socialists. You can read the distinction there. The Democratic Party is the party that they ran on the ticket for. But he is a democratic socialist that uses language that leans into revolutionary socialism. So why did he run as a Democrat? Well, the DSA in New York City, as they explained on the call, has a history of trying to use the Democratic Party in order to advance their candidates. The reason they do this, particularly in New York, and it's very, very important people understand this, ballot access laws are impossible. It is not possible to get a third party on the ballot in New York in any major race. And I know this because I happen to know a guy that ran for governor of New York as a libertarian. They actually did get the signatures required to get him on the ballot as a libertarian for governor in New York. And it was an insane amount of signatures. It was something like 25,000 signatures. That is an insane number of signatures. It requires a massive volunteer base. It requires massive fundraising. It is almost an impossible number to meet. He did it, and then they threw him off the ballot anyway. So this is how corrupt the two parties are. I mean, generally speaking, but especially in New York when it comes to ballot access. They will find another reason to eliminate you from the ballot. So for the Democratic Socialists of America, could they organize to try to get enough signatures required to get someone on the ballot as a Democratic Socialist of America candidate? Yes, they could. They could do that. There's literally no guarantee they're going to be on the ballot because the ballot access laws are corrupt as fuck. The difference between Tier 4 and Tier 5 is that Democratic Socialists of America still believe in the electoral process. Revolutionary Socialists, Tier 5, do not believe in the electoral process. They want to overthrow the entire system, and they don't believe that running candidates in races is going to get them that. But the Democratic Socialists of America still believe they can achieve socialism through elections. They can achieve socialism by getting their candidates elected. Tier 4 and Tier 5 have exactly the same vision for the world. They both want to overthrow capitalism. They both want to undo the Constitution. They both want to undo the government. But the difference between Democratic Socialists and Revolutionary Socialists is Democratic Socialists are reformers that still run candidates. Revolutionary Socialists are revolutionaries that just want to abolish everything. So, if you are a Democratic Socialist of America, as Zohran is, and you still believe that running in elections and winning electoral power is the best way you have to change the system, which they do, the only option in New York is to run as a Democrat and try to take your chances and try to use the party apparatus, but more specifically, the ballot access laws by running within the Democratic Party and getting access that way. That's it. That's why they're doing it. That's why they did it with AOC. And by the way, you guys have never heard this on conservative media, have you? Because they don't explain this to you. So I understand it's confusing, but what you have to understand is Zohran is a reformist socialist who believes in using elections in order to achieve socialism, but ultimately his goal is to overthrow the system. And I know this based on some of the language that he's using. He is a revolutionary at heart, but he's still using elections right now, which makes him a reformist for right now. So that's why. Just because he has the Democrat title does not mean he is functionally a Democrat. He does not believe in the same things that the Democratic Party believes in. He doesn't believe the same things that the liberals believe in. He believes the same things as the revolutionaries. He's just trying to use the electoral system in order to achieve those end goals. Does anyone have questions about what I just said? Questions are welcomed. Ongoing argument is not.